Alright, hey guys. So what we're going to be going over today is the Bravex 3,500 pound winch. I'm even pronouncing that right. And a Badland 3,500 pound winch from Harbor Freight. So basically, let's just go over what you get. So in the Bravex 3,500 pound kit, you get your owner's manual, or user manual, whatever you want to call it. You get all the supplied bolts, you get your control module, you get a wireless switch and an on and off switch, which actually doubles as it's a 3-pole. So all you do is, this is forward and that's reverse. It's attachable there. You get your cable guide, mounting plate, and of course your winch. That's it for the Bravex. On the Badland side, you get your winch, of course. You get all your controls. You get your connection wire. You get an on and off switch. This is the same thing, except for it's more of a toggle. It's not a 3-pole. It's just a toggle. You get your hook. Oops. You get your hook. You get your what should I call it? Can't remember what this calls, but it converts your power ratio over. Still, it runs off 12 volts, so you just hook it to your battery. And then you have your, then it gives you a D-ring, which is nice. Pretty good, hefty D-ring. It's a 1/2-inch D-ring. And then you get rubber grommets for your wires, and then all the supply bolts, and then your owner's manual. So we'll set this aside to get it out of the way. So starting off with the Bravex here, I'm not even going to install this thing because it is one of the most deadly 3,500 pound winches I've ever seen. So it's not fairly large. Can't hear it, lock it back. It's not large at all. It has very, very small mounting ports here. And one thing that just is horrible about this is that these little tiny screws, I don't even know y'all can see that on the camera there. But these little tiny screws go through that plate and mount, let's get it started, mount right there on the winch. That's all that's holding on to. A little piece of threaded aluminum and a tiny steel screw with a hex head bit on it. I don't like the gear actuation. To unspool it, it just automatically unlocks the gear versus just putting it in reverse. Do not like that function. Or the switch does the reverse, and that's why it needs such a different setup compared to Badland. I already opened this up. It is a very simple, more complex design, but simple circuitry versus the Badland. But the thing I say is so dangerous is with this, it's this little tiny screw that holds the winch on. And then the other part that I don't really understand is, so with this you have your 4 holes and they're all beveled to fit your screws in there, just so they sit flat in there. So they're all beveled for that. And you have 4 mounting holes, but they don't supply you with enough screws to use all 4. You choose 2 of them. But my thing is, these holes are too small. These 2 holes and these 2 holes are too small for friction force or shear force, I should say, on this size of a winch. They are, in my opinion, they are extremely deadly. If you got a full 3,500 pounds or more and the cable didn't break and this thing came flying off, either you'd be severely injured if it hit you, or you'd be dead if it hit you. Also, the cable guide. is a very, very, in my opinion, crappily made, cheap made cable guide. It's not folded in on itself for these rollers, so it relies strictly, if you have a slightly downward force or a slightly upward force, so it doesn't flex back and forth on the plate doesn't flex, which I highly doubt it would, but if you got a kink in the line or something and you started pulling on that, it would just cripple that entire section right here on the cable guide. And they're not very large rollers, so they don't slide as well, so there's more curve and a less distance versus a shorter curve and a less distance than on the Badland that has these massive rollers that would do a lot better preventing a curve, preventing a kink or a snag on something and allowing it to roll better. And they just glide a lot better. Like they just roll a lot better. It's also integrated. So what they do is they fold this up first and then fold the sides in. So they are integrated into the sides and on the bottom of the Badland cable guide. So you have a lot more support. They're the same thickness steel, but completely different design and much, much larger rollers and fasteners for that. They also come with nylons lock nuts instead of C-clips or snap rings, whatever you want to call them. Those are C-clips, they aren't E-clips, but they're all snap rings. And then with this you get your screws. So you only have enough screws for 2 for the mounting and 2 for the for your cable guide here, and that just these are used for the roller guide, and these are used for mounting the plate to whatever you're mounting it to. And it only comes with your basic nuts, so nothing special there. Control module, very light duty. You have this, I measured it, and it is 5 or 6 gauge wire. It's one of those two, 5 or 6 gauge wire. All of it's 5 or 6 gauge. The best thing out of this entire set is probably the motor on the winch. I mean, this thing is so dangerous. I would not recommend anyone to use this at any given point unless you're pulling like 500 pounds. And even then, you better be careful with it. So it doesn't supply you with much length. You get about 10 feet here, 10 feet, something like that. If you're pinning this on a front of on like a 4-wheeler, a commercial working 4-wheeler, or like a small truck, or you just want it on a truck or something, a light duty, or your trailer. If you want it on your truck or a 4-wheeler or something like that, it would be perfectly fine with this length wire. But if you want it on the back of your truck, on your bumper, or if you want it on your trailer, you don't have to go ahead and get extra wire. That goes for the same with both of these, but you don't need extra wire for both of them. You get just a run-of-the-mill. This one's a 1/4 inch run-of-the-mill. Probably it has to be rated for 3500, of course. It doesn't specify. It's a G70 1/4 inch hook, which is just your basic towing hook from like Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever you go. And you get a wireless remote control. I do not like wireless remote controls. They're just, if something goes wrong with this, you don't know, and if it's still showing that it's working, you don't know if it's this, like the chip that's in this, if you're too far away, or if it's having to do with the control box. So I do not like wireless remotes. Now we're going to go over to the Badland here. You have a much beefier frame here. So this thing weighs, actually we were never able to weigh it. I'm going to say it weighs about 3 pounds, 4 pounds more than the Bravex here. It's much beefier. These are solid cast aluminum with nice beefy retainer bolts here. And these are your bolts that go into it. These are your bolts that go into it. Very nice and strong. Very easy to put in. Once you get it all tightened out, it's very, very nice. And I say there's about the threads is about a 1/4 inch down, and that's this plate right here, because it mounts to the inner plate versus this one where it mounts to the housing. It's a hollow housing though. This one mounts to the inner motor plate, the plate that the motor attaches to. That's the only downside to it, because you can't really line them up too easily and yeah, extremely decent side threads. So these are both the same, so if you need a shorter thread for whatever reason, you can use that, but they will take the full length. I would recommend using the full length. But I mean, they are a massive difference in screw size. Like, there's the one for the Bravex, and here's the one for the Badland Winch. Like, massive difference. Now, these are 2 different grades of bolts, and they're 2 different types of bolts. But one thing I don't like about these is that they are a flanged screw, so they don't add as much. In this scenario, in my opinion, they don't add any benefit. They actually hinder it quite a bit and make it severely damaged. Because the amount of, if the threads don't go on this first, which I would imagine the threads would go first, but if they don't, then it's your head that's gonna go, your screw's head that's gonna go first and just snap off. And once one goes, the next one goes, and then all 4 of them go after that. So in my opinion, this is the most dangerous part of the winch, not including that there's only 2 of these that hold the mounting plate for the winch to whatever you're mounting it to. So that's also very, very dangerous in my opinion. Versus on this one, there is 4 full-size holes and all the bolts supplied to use them, and very well spaced out compared to the Bravex here. Much smaller, well, not by much. It's about a 1/4 inch smaller on the Bravex, and the Bravex is also thinner. It's a thinner plate. It's about a 1/16 thinner on the Bravex than on the Badland. So much stronger, thicker plate. For a 3,500 pound winch, this is an overkill on the plate. I don't know what they were thinking, but they overkilled it. One thing I really like is the size wire. So like, this is 5 or 6 gauge wire, which it will work. It'd be perfectly fine working on it for the size of a winch. But at the same time, it won't get as much power flow. And I'm guessing that is because of the controls they decided to go with this. They're not as a much lighter duty control system, so you can't put as much current through this. Versus on this is your transformer of sorts, and you hook your wires up to that and it boosts them, and you get this nice. This is 2 or 3 gauge wire. I believe it's 2 gauge wire. I took a measurement off of it, and I believe it's 2 gauge wire. So very, very heavy duty wire, and you get a lot of it. You get really nice high quality wire. On this one, they just have basic crimps. So you just have a basic crimp on the Bravex. The Bravex has just the standard crimp on connectors that you would just get at the store and not do anything with. Very flimsy eyelets, which for this size wire, there's no reason to have a bigger eyelet. But very light duty. On this one, they go ahead and they put heat shrink on it, and it's all heat shrink on there for you. You can hit it again with the torch if you really wanted to and get it on there a little tighter. I don't think it's gonna get any tighter. It's pretty tight on this one. And very beefy eyelets here. Again, it's 2 gauge wire, I believe. It might be 3 gauge. But it's a very beefy wire compared to this, and they're waterproofed already. Now, another thing I like about the Badland is they provide rubber boots that go on here. So they provide you rubber boots that go on here and on the other end here that will go from there attached to your connectors here. So everything's fairly water resistant, and the wires are waterproof just about. So that is the reason I'm returning this, because I did not trust it. I didn't want to use it. It was so dangerous, in my opinion. I went to Harbor Freight and I just started looking at winches, and I came across this one. I got this one because it's extremely nice. This was $140 on Amazon, I believe, after everything is, and it is just horrible. It's like 135, 140 on Amazon. It's horrible quality, in my opinion. It probably would last you a little while, but it's just so dangerous. I do not want to even test it. The gears are also, in this one compared to this one, they're like 2/3 the size in this one than this one. So much larger gears in the Badland here. Motors seem about the exact same size. They might even be from the same manufacturer. Who knows? So there's the Badland winch. Very, very nice winch. I love that it comes with a D-ring already, which is always helpful to have around. This is your fuse box. So it has two massive 12-volt fuses in here. When I say massive, I mean each one's like this big, and there's two of them in there. Like, it takes up this whole space. But so it's a series setup, but it's extremely overkill for this size of a winch. I don't know what in the world they were thinking. I'm guessing the reason they need this size of fuses is because of the transformer here. There's two coils inside of here. I already took it off and checked, and there's two coils inside of here for boosting, so I'm guessing that's why they needed to double up on the fuses here on the side here. And they're not too uncommon fuses. You can buy them for like $2 a piece or $4 a piece on the internet. They're not common at your auto stores or anything. It's not a common fuse, but they are on the internet. The mounting plate, like I said, is one of my favorite parts. Well, I'm gonna say my third favorite part about this, third favorite part about this, just because of the hole sizes, the screw sizes, and the fact that they supply all 4 bolts, and it is well spaced. It's well spaced out for use. That's my third. My fourth favorite thing is the amount of wire control you get. You can literally hook this up, and right here goes to wherever you want to be on the vehicle. So you could put this on your toolbox if it's long enough, or like you could be standing on the side of the truck or something, or you could hook it to your trailer and hook it to your truck and have it pointed towards the trailer and have it directly hooked up for the control, or wherever you want it. You can lead it from the trailer to your truck and for your control. But I really like it. So you have your positive that cuts the power to the control. So very nice there. That's my fourth favorite thing. So third, is the on and off switch right here is identical pretty much to this one. I mean, they are. The only difference is this one's longer, which I don't understand why you need it really long, because I mean, you just flip the switch. Where on your winch, I mean, like, I don't know why you need it this long, but, and this is probably 3 or 4 gauge, 3 gauge wire, because it's a lot beefier wire than that. Don't quite understand why they needed a bigger wire for a switch of this size. It's only a 12-volt switch. There's no converters or boosters inside of here. I already took it apart and checked. There's nothing in there. It's just a bunch of relays. So yeah, that's your on and off switch. So don't quite understand that, but they're pretty much identical in what type of switches they are. I mean, they are almost identical. They might even be the same. There's no markings on it, so they might even be the same switch. I do like the nice positive clicking or toggle, whatever you want to call it. I like it a lot. I like to be able to feel it toggle and hear it toggle. So it's very nice. The best part about this entire winch is compared to the Bravex, is the cable guide. This cable guide is massive and well built compared to the Bravex. Like, I mean, that's the size difference right there. I mean, it's so much smaller than the Badland. So much smaller. It's a lot smoother on roll. And just to give you an idea of how much I got to scale right here, we're on weight in ounces. The Badland one weighs at 32.75 ounces. So pretty damn heavy. 32.75 ounces for that. This one weighs at 23.1 ounces. So almost almost an 11 ounce difference. Right, 21, 23, 32. Yeah. So basically a 10 ounce difference between these two, and this is a lot nicer. I like nylon lock nuts. The rollers are beefier. The construction's better. I like that it's folded in to itself. It gives it a lot more support horizontally. It has just as much vertical support as this one does, pretty much, but it has much more horizontal support on this one. So if it starts pulling or something, or it snatches, you don't have to worry about it bend. If you have a kink in your line and it grabs the roller, it's not going to pull it to one side. One thing I was amazed at, that it came with rubber boots for your wires. That was very nice that it came with that. But all in all, this is, in my opinion, the Bravex 3,500 pound winch is an extremely dangerous winch. I would not recommend anyone to ever use it or stand near it, even if they were using it standing 50 feet back. Both of them do have 50-foot lines on them. The line on I highly doubt that's 50 feet unless it has a really small roller. The cable on the Badland's thinner, but I bet it's of higher quality. This is a lot more larger. This one has much larger strands versus this one has thinner strands. And with cables, when you twist the cables, the thinner the strand you have, the better it is. That means the more support and more stretch you can get out of it, the thinner the cable is, the thinner each individual wire is. The thicker it is, the less it stretches, and the more likely it is to form little fractures and then over time wear out completely. So this is a much higher quality cable than this one. That's probably why they got away with pitting a smaller cable on the Badland than the Bravex. Probably, I'm fairly certain this one, I know, at least holds 2,500 pounds. I have almost identical looking cable, and so it should hold at least 2,500 pounds. So I would not be surprised if this is a special grade and it holds at least 3,500 pounds. This one, I've worked with cable like this before. It will hold at least 3,500 pounds. If it snaps at 3,500 pounds, I will be amazed. Remember, always have your safety, your snatch block, and your weight on the cable at all times. When I say weight, I mean like a bag with a brick in it or something, that if the cable does snap or your hook comes undone from the eyelet here, that way it doesn't come flying back and knock you out or kill you. I would not expect this to even come flying off at 5,000 pounds. Like I think it could handle probably over 330. It can handle over 3,500 pounds pretty easily. It seems like. Overall, this is extremely good quality, and this is extremely bad quality for the size it is, and very, very dangerous. So I haven't used this one yet. So right now I'm going to give it 3 stars since I haven't even used it. I don't even know if it can haul. I'm just hauling logs pretty much with it, and the occasional car, but mainly logs. So it's just going to be 3-star for right now until I test out the gears and how well it actually pulls. We have I'd say it's about about a 2,000 pound log outside right now that we had moved by hand, and we used the truck seater off with, and that's why we got a winch. This, I could not imagine this not being able to handle that log. This one would be skeptical of even using that for even the smallest log that we have that weighs probably like 600 pounds. Like, I wouldn't recommend using that even for that light of a duty. I mean, the 500 pound little Harbor Freight winch that's like this big and that you could mount to a ceiling is like a hoist or whatever. It's a winch, but that could probably do a better job than this, in my opinion. So this one's going to stay at 3-star right now just because I haven't used it, but extremely good quality so far. But doesn't matter if you have extremely good quality if it doesn't work. This one, I'm pitting it straight. If I could do a negative star, I would. If I could do a 0-star, I would, but I can't. I have to give it some sort of rating. I give it 0.1 stars if you could even do that, but you can't even do that. So a 0.5 star or 1 star. Like, this is the most deadly 3,500 pound winch. I would never recommend anyone using this. And yeah, that's it. So both of them are 12-volt systems. They run off your truck's battery. They both have on-off switches. This one has a wired control, which I prefer, and this one has a wireless control, which I do not recommend just because these can screw up. I don't even think these come with it comes with the battery for it, but let's see. That's on. The battery is actually working, so the battery actually works. That's kind of a bad idea to ship batteries inside of whatever controller they're in, just because it can damage the item itself. So that could be a problem there. I don't know what their warranty is like. I've got it from Amazon. I have no problem returning to Amazon. But so all in all, beefier gears on the Badland, smaller gears on the Bravex, a more robust control system on the Badland than the Bravex. You get fuses. This one comes with fuses too, but it's just your basic inline fuses. If they do blow, you will have to get. There's one fuse that if it does blow, you can replace, and that's probably going to be your overload fuse. But the fuses on the circuit board, they're soldered on, which I don't like. If those blow, then you have to get a whole new control module, and at that point, it's kind of screwed. This one has 2 gigantic, beefy fuses. I don't know why in the world of this winch would need 2 fuses that large, but I'm guessing it has something to do with the booster here. The roller on the Badland is the best. The wires on the Badland are the best. The winch on the Badland is the best. The mounting plate is fantastic. It's overkill for this size of a winch. It comes with rubber grommets, full size screws. You can get, even if you wanted to, you could get grade 5 bolts with this one does come with. It also only comes with basic nuts, but you can get grade 5 bolts and get nylon nuts for it. I would not recommend grade 8 bolts because grade 8 bolts aren't quite designed to do this type of work. So grade 5 bolts would be great for this type of work. Grade 8 is just too rigid and they can snap if cantered in the wrong direction. Grade 5 has a little bit more leeway and is, in my opinion, a better type of bolt for this particular system if you wanted to change out bolts. And all in all is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bolts that are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 10 bolts that are and screws that are supplied with the Badland, and there is 4. No, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 bolts and screws supplied with this, but again, out of those 10 bolts, it is 4 of these and 2 screws for mounting this onto whatever box or whatever thing you want to mount it to. So, but all in all, dangerous, good. Overkill, underkill. Very, very dangerous. It's like if you shoot a wild boar and you don't take it down for the first time, and you get down out of a tree, that boar's gonna kill you. I mean, that's basically the analogy I want to use for this. Yeah, so 3-star just because I have not used it yet. If I use it and I love it, I'm gonna give it a 5-star no matter what. This one, I give it, if I could give it a negative star, I would. If I could get a half-star, I would. But it's gonna stay at a 1-star because that's the lowest rating I can give it. Construction is horrible. Gear actuation, I don't like. Controls, I do not like. Wires are horrible. The cable guide is horrible. The screws for mounting are dangerous as could possibly be. Hi, Coco. Yes, hello. Yes, go. Other than that, I do like that this comes with a D-ring. The Bravex does not come with a D-ring. Comes with a much beefier. Now, granted, I know the steels can be different, and it doesn't matter what size the steel is technically on this heavy of a weight item, but I mean, this is the size difference of the hooks. Like, if I'm pitting straps in this one, I'm gonna have to keep that hook open like that to keep it keep that hook open like that. It could slip out. With this one, if I use the right straps with it, you have a lot more room to slide it up in there and get it in there and fold it around and everything. Much nicer. I might change out the hook on this one. Don't know yet, so we'll see how it works. It's kind of a small hook, but it is a 3,500 pound winch, so I mean it's sized appropriately. I like the 5,000 and 10,000 pound winch hooks. They're really nice and large. They're about this big, so they're very nice. So yeah, highly recommend the Badland, even though I haven't even used it yet. But they are known to be a pretty decent winch. I do like the actuator on here. My brother likes that it shows which way to go, which way to either release it or disengage it. This one, I do not like the actuator on it. It's very small, it's hard to turn, and it only gives a positive lock in the release section. It does not give a positive lock in the load section. And that's everything. So I'm sorry if it's too long a video, but please subscribe and leave a review and tell me what I could have done better, because I am new at this. This is only going to be my second one, and my last one was so bad. I'm going to redo that one. That is on the Chinese replica of the 070 steel chainsaw with a 36-inch bar on it. They do not make them anymore, so you would have to get either old steel or get the replica from China. So, and they're still very popular saw for other countries, and you can get parts for them all day long. So if something breaks on it, it's gonna be easy replacement. Filters are readily available, and yeah. So it was just such a bad video. I'm gonna redo it for y'all, and that's everything. Just comment, subscribe, and tell me how I did. Thanks. Bye.